we have one employee who is basically afraid to come to work. He wants to stay home, and he wants to apply for unemployment. We have tried to explain to him that in order for him to collect unemployment, he has to quit or we have to lay him off. In either one of those cases, he would lose his insurance that we have. We've checked with our insurance company and they said if he's not 30 hours on payroll, you cannot carry him under your insurance plan. So what do we do? Do we fire this guy?
That's a great question. Gary, I'm going to comment first from kind of the social perspective, and then I want to hear the business legal perspective from you, which will probably be the right advice. I'm going to tell you what I would do. This is the Wally that hasn't shaved in a couple of weeks, cooped up in his house, probably drinking too much vodka in the evenings. Although my boys haven't run on the beach, but you're on the beach. It's kind of okay on the beach. It's kind of sad when you're just in your house. So here's the thing. I had this conversation with my crew yesterday. One of the things that I take a lot of pride in is that we have been designated essential services. I understand we're not firemen and the police. I get that. We're not out there saving people from burning cars and burning buildings and that kind of thing. But the government has decided that what we do for a living is essential. You got to have refrigerated food. You got to have air conditioning in the hospital. Old folks got to have heating in their homes or cooling in their homes. We are essential for a reason. That was not a random designation. This is what I told my people yesterday. This is not a random designation. We got this designation because we matter. We have the opportunity to make a contribution during a crisis of this country. And I'm going to tell you something. I've been watching doctors and nurses all across this country making face masks out of baby diapers and scrambling up whatever supplies they can to remain safe while they're out there putting their lives on the line every freaking day, 24 and 36-hour shifts to take care of sick people. They are rising to the challenge. They are accepting the challenge, embracing the challenge. What are we going to do? Are we going to be afraid? Is the nurse afraid? Is the doctor afraid that saving people's lives? What if this cat gets sick? What if his mother gets sick? Is he going to want the nurse and the doctor to say, I'm going to stay home because I don't want to get sick? What kind of human beings are we going to be in this environment? Are we going to rise to the challenge? Are we equal to the task? Are we going to embrace this designation that we are essential, we matter? Are we going to cower and withdraw to the safety confines of our home and wave the right flag? What do you want to be? What do you want to tell your kids you did through this crisis that, as Gary mentioned earlier, is of epic proportion, unlike anything we've seen in our lifetimes, in history of this country? If that person doesn't respond to that message, you got to ask yourself a question. Is that the person you want on your team? If I have that person and they're afraid, what are you willing to do? I'm paying you 30 hours a week. Why? Because the government's going to pay me back for your sorry ass 4 months down the road. What are you willing to do? Will you go deliver groceries for old people? Will you go out there and do some free service work for somebody? What are you going to do? Who are you? What do you want to be? That's my personal reaction. And I wish I could take that person you're talking about and grab him by the shoulders and have a serious conversation with him, because that makes me crazy. Now, Gary, having said that, rather emotional response perhaps, I'd like to hear the most thoughtful voice in the industry as far as I'm concerned, the most respected voice. Legally, business-wise, what would your response be?
Well, after listening to that, I want to run through a brick wall, man. So I'm not sure of the questioner's name, but I certainly know Mac Morris is a great company. Is this a family member?
No, it's not. It's not a family member.
Okay, then I would terminate his employment. And
that's the way we feel. That's the way we feel. And Weldon, you couldn't have said it better, buddy. I thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. These are difficult times.
You can show that to him.
Listen, these are difficult times. They're emotional times. I mean, I was watching stuff in the news last night, people dying, and our president, and he kind of minimized it for a couple of weeks, it seems like, but Like they're fully embracing the scale of this thing, the scope of this thing. It's mind-boggling and it's scary. It's nerve-wracking, but we have to decide what kind of people are we going to be? Are we going to be the people that retreat? Are we going to be the people that go out there and say, I may lose, I may fail, but I'm going to die trying. I'm going to die fighting. Listen, if you're sick, if you have symptoms, if you're living with somebody who's vulnerable and they have symptoms, I get it. That's a whole different scenario. I'm assuming in this conversation, we're talking about a healthy person who has no unnecessary risk and they're not confined with somebody who's sick. But if you're able and willing, you gotta help in this situation. These are serious times. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, you know, the circumstances do not define the person. The circumstances reveal the person. Who are we going to be as professionals, as leaders, as people who make a contribution? Man, if you're going to sit back right now and coast, I don't need you around me. I need fighters. And again, I'm not talking about people who are at risk. Yes, if you have an elderly parent and they have symptoms and you have symptoms and you got to stay home, exercise caution, be smart. But if you don't have those limitations, I don't have those limitations. My wife is strong and healthy. My daughter is strong and healthy. My son is fine. I'm going to go out there and do whatever I got to do. And by God, if you're not on board with me, you are either with me or against me in this kind of situation. And so I appreciate that the response and again, the legality of it, that's more of a Gary Ellis question. But man, I'm talking about just, I need fighters. I need studs. I need character. I need integrity. I need strength.